Here we go, next clip.
All right. Well, speaking about college athletics, Kirby Smart calls out players offended by his coaching style.
Long way from good. We are a work in progress. We have the least number of players who have gone through 3 spring practices since I've been here. So that should tell you something. I asked the guys to stand up who have practiced at least 3 spring practices. So this obviously would make their 4th, and there was basically nobody standing. We just don't. We have a very young, inexperienced group. We really can't practice to our standard because they're all tired. So like we go to practice and it's like great energy, great in shorts, guys learn what to do, and then we start going and it's like they can't go. We have to coach it. I mean, that's what they get. That's what they pay us to do, to coach them. They have to be willing to receive coaching. And on the whole, my whole preach after the practice was we got a lot of guys that put their hands up. They're offended when you coach them. I'm not talking about the freshmen. I'm talking about in general.
Yeah, I received that. Because this is the thing that coaches need time for, and that's to implement their formula. You understand what I'm saying? It's like no matter who you are, no matter what's your coach's, caveat, you still need time to implement your formulas for your players to buy in. I give you an example even for me where it's like this past weekend while we were playing, there were some players that was extremely talented, but they didn't know what they were supposed to do. Yeah. And that now minimizes their skill. So if a person is not reacting and is thinking more than they're playing, then you don't have a really good player. And it doesn't matter if you're Kirby Smart, doesn't matter if you're Dabo Swinney, doesn't matter if you're Mike Krzyzewski. It don't matter who you are, bro. You need good players to understand what they're supposed to do so they can take their good skill and play faster, which makes them great. Yeah. Sport is always and will always be about who reacts faster in a movement that it's a game of inches or it's a game of seconds. It's a game of reacting faster than the next person. And when you have a formula where a defensive philosophy, an offensive philosophy, certain things to have antidotes for what a team may be throwing at you or their plan of attack, if somebody's thinking more than they're playing, that's a problem.
So let me ask you, too, when you talk about, or Kirby Smart talks about players being offended, even from your history of playing, was it different from you being coached in college versus the pros because of the money? Now, these are college but professional athletes. You starting to receive a check. So does that make you feel like, you know who I am? Like you trying to tell me X, Y, Z? Like
I think what Coach Kirby is trying to say, they're offended. It could be a multitude of things, but what I hear and what I sense by going through this as well, there's a lot of sensitivity from players in this generation. Like the Bill Parcells, the Bob Knights, those coaches who would just tell it how it is and like, let me tell you, bro, they'll MF you to get the best version out.
Yeah, that's what we used to call like hard coach. He just
hard coaching. But it's not the way of doing certain things, it's how it's coming off and what is perceived. And I would always look at it, even now being an adult, it's not actually the words that's being what's the intent behind the words? Is it to degrade? Is it to suppress? Is it to disrespect? Or is it trying to channel emotion that's going to make me a better player? Yeah. And I think the maturity will teach you that and how they've been coached up until that point. So if you've been coached hard in rec ball, it's not going to offend you in high school.
That's real.
And if it's not going to offend you in high school, it's not going to offend you at the next level. The most disheartening thing being a coach of players is like, bro, you coached the heck out of a player. And then all of a sudden you see that their response is they just go in the tank. I heard this once from a coach where it was so impactful because he said, as a coach, as any good coach will tell you, it's my job to push you to the edge, but not over it. So for that, there's different tactics and different techniques that each player and every coach knows you can't coach everybody different. You can't parent every child different. You can't co-work with everybody the same way. You know what I'm saying? And it's that type of methodology that goes into being a great teacher.